I'm going to give you guys my ranking of all 6 Middle-earth movies, ranked from worst to best. Now, I figured that this is the perfect ranking to do this weekend. J.R.R. Tolkien, who wrote the Lord of the Rings novels as well as The Hobbit. So let's talk about the Lord of the Rings movies and the Hobbit movies as well, and give you guys my personal list. Now, that's not the correct list, but I do want to know your guys' list in the comments section down below. Also, hit that subscribe button for more rankings and reviews and good conversation about movies in general today. Coming at number 6 is The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. Now, this kicked off the Hobbit franchise in a pretty kind of insignificant way for me. There are some really good moments with, Bilbo meeting the dwarves and Gandalf being back on the big screen again. That was all fun to see, and I really liked Gollum and Bilbo's interactions. However, a lot of it was filler, and it felt really stretched out to make it a 3-part film, which really, The Hobbit is one of the shorter books that J.R.R. Tolkien wrote, so why do we need 3 movies to tell the story? So this film definitely felt like it was definitely a stretch here to make it a 3rd film. But it's still an enjoyable things to like about it. I definitely do think the Gollum/Smeagol Bilbo interaction was fantastic. Absolutely love that scene playing out, and it ends shortly after that. So it's still a good movie to check out if you're really interested in seeing the Hobbit movies. Number 5, The Battle of the 5 Armies. Now, this event happened in the book on one page. There was really nothing to this battle in the book. However, we get a full, almost 3-hour length film about this battle, and this is definitely a big stretching of the story. However, it really works. There's a lot of cool battle, and Peter Jackson does a great job with big, giant battle sequences. If we know anything from Helm's Deep or even the battles at the end of Return of the King, we can definitely know he definitely knows how to do big battle sequences. So there's a lot to like if you really enjoy big battles and some good character moments in the films as well. So Battle of the 5 Armies is definitely up there for being a big epic scope of film, but it definitely just falls into the bottom of my list because I feel like it's kind of unnecessary to be this long. And again, it goes back to my gripes with it should have just been one feature-length film instead of 3. Number 4, The Desolation of Smaug. Now, I do admit, this is actually one of my favorite movies in the Lord of the Rings franchise. It definitely has issues, and again, goes for that stretching thing. I'll say the same thing about these Hobbit movies. However, I love Benedict Cumberbatch as Smaug. I really like that. I love the interaction with Smaug and Bilbo. I thought that was some of the best stuff in the franchise. And what I really loved about this movie so much, that actually I would consider putting it up at another step at my 3rd spot, is because in the book of The Hobbit, this was my favorite elements in the book. So seeing the interactions with Smaug and the dwarves, as well as them escaping their kind of encampment and going down, riding the water down in those barrels. That stuff was all some of my favorite things in the book. So I absolutely loved that. So it was some of my, my favorite stuff, and it was translated onto the big screen in a way that I absolutely was blown away by. And originally, it had this movie just a little bit higher, even though it's unrealistic to be up that high. But Desolation of Smaug is a fantastic film, and I definitely thought it was a really strong installment in the Hobbit trilogy. Number 3 is The Fellowship of the Ring. Now, I love the first Fellowship of the Ring. The Howard Shore score is fantastic. I love the introduction to all these characters, and there's some really fantastic moments in here. I think the entire cast really came together and really delivered with this one. And it really shows that Peter Jackson knows how to tell an origin story, build a world, and get you engulfed in a story. I thought it was paced extremely well with some really awesome moments. The battle in the mines of Moria was a fantastic opening to some epic battles. And just throughout the story, the very end of the movie where Boromir is trying to take the ring from Frodo, and that big epic battle with the Uruk-hai was absolutely just a spectacle to see on screen. So definitely was some really good opening acts for battle sequences in this Lord of the Rings franchise. Number 2 is The Two Towers. Now, back when I said about The Desolation of Smaug, that was some of my favorite stuff in the book. The Two Towers was my least favorite book because a lot of the stuff in it was kind of boring to me. Like the whole stuff with the Ents, that was really slowly paced. I didn't really care about it. I wasn't really invested in the book that much with it. And that same goes with the movie as well. Whenever they deal with the Ents, I'm not really invested or engaged in those elements. However, you can't argue the fact that the Battle of Helm's Deep is some of the best battle sequences you will ever see in cinema. That really plays out and really steps up this movie in a great scale. Some of the trailers, however, because I watched the movies before I watched the books, they revealed that Gandalf actually was alive. So I was really confused. Like, I thought he died in Fellowship. Why is he back in Two Towers? Little did I know, it all made sense in the books. The Two Towers is fantastic. There's a lot of great character moments and progression of their characters into this film that really make this film stand out on its own and definitely deserves to be the number 2 spot. Number 1 for me is The Return of the King. Now, this is the Best Picture winner for the year it came out. I thought this was absolutely deserving. So much about this movie absolutely worked. The battles were fantastic. The battles of Minas Tirith were epic and grand, and there were some really great visual effects, good character moments, and just an epic conclusion to this little quick trilogy that we got from Peter Jackson. Some of my favorite moments and battle sequences happen in this film. I love seeing Aragorn stepping out as king and having his men charge the Black Gates as well, and seeing them finally destroy the Ring of Power was all fantastic. I saw this movie several times in theaters, and it was absolutely sold out, and I absolutely had a blast watching it with a full-packed crowd in theater. It was a great experience, one of my favorite experiences of all time in the theater. It played out every way I wanted to. The book even translated even better. I thought the book actually was not as good as the movie. I thought the movie was even outdid the book. That's how much I liked the Return of the King movie. Yes, there's several different variations of the ending that it maybe seems to go on forever, and there is an element in the book that I would love to see in the movie, them taking back the Shire. However, we don't get that in the film, but I don't think it needed to have happened. So everything played out really well for me, and I absolutely love the Return of the King. Well, that's my quick ranking of all 6 Middle-earth films ranked from worst to best. And also hit that subscribe button on my channel and the Red and Brown podcast for more movies, news, and entertainment conversations as well. Until next time, I will see you later.